That is probably not the letter you should write. So just for the people who are watching this on the video, the question was, if you feel really bad about yourself now, could this have the opposite effect, where you think, oh my God, I'm never going to change, and if you're a loser now, you're going to always be a loser. So the letter might be like, dear loser, I'm still a loser. You're still a loser. Life sucks. That is not the letter. Actually, so research suggests it is better to be optimistic in this letter than to be pessimistic. But at the same time, the key thing about this finding is not so much whether you think you are going to be exactly the same, but whether you understand that it's going to be the same person having the future experience. And that, which actually comes to the second point here. And so that's actually a different thing. It's not like, are you still going to have all of the same problems and all of the same neuroses, or have you fixed them? It's not that kind of same self, different self. It's, do you understand that, like, you know how real pain is right now? If I were to come and punch you, how much that would hurt? Do you understand that 30 years from now, it's going to hurt if someone punches you? And that seems to be the thing that people actually have problems with. When they think about their future selves, they don't have access to those emotions. They don't understand that that future happiness is going to be as real and as important. And so, so when you're doing this kind of letter writing or doing this future self imagination, the actual critical part is getting to feel like that future self is real and that it is in some way you, that you are going to be the one having this experience. And it's not so much whether you think you're going to be the identical person still listening to the same music you listened to in 1983, or it's not like that. Okay, so here's the second future self exercise, which kind of gets to that. And I call this going back to the future. And this is the exercise of just imagining yourself in the future. Studies show that just imagining yourself grocery shopping in the future, okay, not anything even relevant to your goals, but just grocery shopping, then ends up helping people make better decisions in the present moment that's going to lead to payoff in the future. Because you can actually imagine it, and you can imagine what would be on the shelf, and you know what it feels like to be pushing a shopping cart. And there's something about making the future real that gives us more willpower, kind of independent of the content, what you're thinking about. But there's also studies showing that you can imagine specific futures related to your willpower challenge, and both good sort of future realities and negative future realities can be very motivating. So in one study, they had people who wanted to improve their health to imagine the consequences of not making a change, like really vividly. What's that going to be like? What's it going to feel like 10 years from now if you don't make this change? And they had another group think about the positive consequences of making the change, and what would that be like, and how are you going to feel? And both of those sort of future thinking ended up increasing the good health behavior in the present. And so you guys have seen Back to the Future 2, right? Have you guys seen Back to the Future 2? You know, he goes into the future, and there's like a really bad future and a really good future. Okay, at some point that reference is not going to work anymore. That is... Okay, here's, so we got 2 more interventions. In this next intervention, I just want to take a poll. So we're talking about visualizing things. If you had to guess which would be more helpful for finding your willpower, do you think it's more helpful to imagine or visualize yourself failing, or is it more helpful to visualize and imagine yourself succeeding? Raise your hand if you think imagining failure is going to be more helpful. Raise your hand if you think imagining success. You guys are such typical Americans. Okay, that's what everyone thinks. So actually it turns out imagining failure is way more helpful than imagining success. Not that imagining success is always bad, but imagining failure is better. So let me tell you about this one intervention and then some of the theory a little bit more broadly. In this particular study, they took women from young adult to middle age, a little bit older adults, all of whom were not exercising.